Welcome back to the SMITE Minor League. North America edition is this afternoon. But before we get onto that, first of all, Kuzenbo. What version is it? The Mafia one? Yeah, it's in-game. Go get it now. That's my promo stuff done. Joining me on the desk is Zeros. How you doing?
Hello.
How you doing?
I'm doing fine. Nothing.
What's wrong?
Nothing.
Nothing? Why are you so scared?
I don't know.
It's okay. I'm not going to kick you.
No, I'm okay. I'm okay, actually.
That's already happened to you.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Right? It can't happen again, right?
No. It's
Two
okay.
times in a
It's
row.
just first time with you, and you're looking a bit.
Oh, about what? About what?
No, nothing. Let's go on.
Nothing
With the,
what?
let's go on with the show, okay?
Nothing what? No, we'll do it on air. Nothing what? Is this how it's going to be now with us on the desk? Yeah. You going to smile at least?
No.
It's been 15 years. I've still not seen you smile. You
That's
nearly
not
smiled
true.
then.
That's not true.
Yeah, last set you did actually. Funny enough, but he wasn't with me. Zero's joining me in the desk as well. What a great pickup he's been, eh? What great desk segments we're having together already. Here's a little look back at the European Minor League from what we saw this morning. Simplicity and Outcalled, the top two teams over in Europe right now. Exordium, Horizon Union slipping towards the bottom. Zeros, what do you think about Simplicity, Outcalled and their chances with how it's looking?
Yeah, I mean, they're looking good here, right? To be honest, I haven't followed SML that much, but I mean, looking at last game, Outcalled had a bit of some slip-ups, but they still look good enough, I think. If they just get the stuff together, I think those are probably the two top teams, yeah.
Well, let's have a look at NA, because that's what we're going to look at here today, this afternoon. It's going to be Sanguine up against Hype Unit is our first game to commentate on here today. And when you look at the standings, well, Zeros, it kind of tells it all. It's about Armada, Hype Unit and Sanguine for those top two spots for the placement stage.
Yeah, so close. I'm really interested in seeing Sanguine, because I play against those guys in ranked all the time, and they're beasts.
Yeah?
Yeah, they are.
A lot of people always talk about that team of those guys always try hard every game.
Yeah, they do.
And that's the thing that the pros are admitting, like the NA and the EU pros are kind of admitting that they don't try hard every game. Is that true?
I try hard. I guess I'm not a pro anymore, so you know.
Oh, you can talk
count.
stuff now. You can say what you want. the world is your oyster. You can say what you want. What do you want to say about any pro right now? Do it.
Oh.
This is your window.
No, I can't. I can't do this. Come
You're
on,
not a pro anymore. You can say what you want.
I'm still new. I need to have a good impression of everyone. I feel like I should be nice.
Nice.
Yeah.
Do I do a good job at doing that?
Sure.
Yeah, okay. Let's get into picks and bans then. Sanguine up against Hype Unit. If you don't know these two squads, Sanguine's a Latin American team that have done very well over the years, and they've been around since the early days, if you remember way back when, Zeros. You've been at the World Champs a couple of times and run across them?
Sure. I don't necessarily remember which of them has been at the World Championship. Have they had name changes and stuff? Or
one or two may have been around since beginning. One or two members have definitely changed. Jarcorr's a little bit newer on the scene with them. But this squad as a whole, very, very impactful. Hype Unit, meanwhile, some ranked all-stars here, the likes of SBennyQ and the likes of the team that come through here. And you've got a smile on your face at SBennyQ.
I don't know if I would call them ranked all-stars, but I mean, they're decent players for sure.
Yeah, molluskk as well on this team alongside RussianPapi and Gamma too at the moment. So bands coming through, Amaterasu, Isis and Ratatoska from Sanguine. Meanwhile, King Arthur, Set and Persephone. And that's going to be first pick Olorun. How do you feel about that?
That's interesting. I feel like it's super risky because I feel like there's so many good counter picks against Olorun. I do think if you don't counter pick Olorun, he has potential to be one of the absolute best goals in the game right now. But if you do counter pick him, I feel like you can really shut him down.
Now you mentioned the counter pick options against Olorun, right? Vamana is the one that everybody thinks of. But what are the others that are there?
Thing is, Vamana Morrigan, double Vamana.
Oh yeah.
That's what you want to see.
But then you need one Vamana at least.
But then there's also Jorm, really good with the alt.
Oh yeah.
Like, just completely ignores the Olorun alt, and Ronngyu as well.
Okay, so 3 picks there, they're available. Fast picks and bans. Sanguine want to get into game quick. Anhur, Osiris, Thor, Horus. What have you thought about Horus since he come on the scene? You like him?
It's been up and down, I feel like.
Yeah.
Like, he was played for a while and did so well. He's still really good. He has so much pressure, right? And his combo, like his Blink 2-1 combo, so good for setting up kills. And like when you have an AMC supporting, I would assume it's AMC mid. Like that, because he shreds protection as well, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like there's like one-shot potential every time he blinks in.
So pressure from the Horus with the AMC combo. Then you've still got Thor to follow up. Hype Unit, though, into the counter ban phase. Poseidon, Capri, Geb, 2 focus bans there.
Love this Geb ban. Like, because I've mentioned it so many times before, but Geb can prevent what Horus want to do, right? With the combo, like you shield and the combo is broken. I say for Capri, he can save them. So like, they removed the both defensive picks that are really against Horus, so I think their early game's going to be really strong.
Sanguine expecting some long-range poke damage from that Poseidon. Oh, the Thoth there, so going to ban those away. Xing now picked up, more than likely, I'm guessing, for a solo lane here. I don't really see Horus doing that just lately.
The thing is here, like Xing is pretty good against Olorun, right? Because like he also has the CC immune ult where he can go into the Olorun ult, but I'm not sure if it's enough.
The mobility, maybe?
Yeah, because neither of the other 3 characters, like Thor, Horus, and Muzen is that great against Olorun, so let's see what they pick for last there. Okay, Merlin. Yeah, okay, I don't know. I'm not sure if that's enough counter pick to shut this Olorun down, but we'll see.
So Sanguine going to have to play for the Olorun a little bit. I think when we look at Olorun, we're looking more towards the team fights around Gold Fury, Fire Giant, whereas they've still got an Anhur, Osiris, Terra elsewhere.
Such a strong backline. Anhur, Olorun, and then a Terra as well for the ult, so... Yeah.
Well, that was a fast pick, some band zeros. See you in a few minutes. Let's get into game for Sanguine versus Hype Unit.
Thank you, Hindu Man, but really thank you to Zeros for putting up with Hindu Man more than anything else. Aggro and Anatoly on the cast for what is a huge game here, Toly, between Sanguine and Hype Unit. Stakes are high here.
That's true. Both of these teams tied at 6-2, and it's not only these two teams. Armada on the back end also at 6-2, a 3-way horse race for only 2 spots at the High Res Expo placements.
And both of these teams have had a really high moment so far this phase. Also, some lows, I would say, but we'll see whose high ends up being better and if they can achieve it here today. You heard Zeros on the desk talk about Netrioid and his way that he can really change the game with this Olorun, and I tend to agree. Not a lot of great dive for it. I think RussianPapi on the Xing Chen's got to be the guy to really give Netrioid problems.
I definitely agree. That Furious Roar is going to be impactful. Whether or not you kill the Olorun, but just limiting his in-hand damage with that Furious Roar is going to be super helpful come those mid to late game team fights.
Even in Sanctified Field, I mean, he's doing almost all of his damage with those auto attacks, so Furious Roar is certainly good there, but CC Immune Ultimate always important. As Sops in trouble early on. Sheento jumps in. The Aegis was solid. The CC wasn't there, but it doesn't stop Panitom. He gets first blood for Sanguine, and it's perfect timing because red buff's still up. Hype Unit hadn't gotten it. Going for left side mid harpies there, a little bit risky, Toly.
It definitely was. Great rotation there. Again, recognition, more importantly, from Sanguine. The fact that this on her basic attack damage with that enfeeble passive, that penetration, really abusing Sops that normally should be controlling this early mid laning phase, but instead, with his 1 death now, is going to be struggling a little bit.
I mean, we've seen a lot of mid hunters so far today. We've seen Izanami and Chiron and Kernanos and Hachiman. And Anhur hasn't been picked or banned in any of those games. And I think people forget that this is the dude that started this sort of meta, and well, AMC as well, but there's a reason, man. I mean, Anhur just does so much damage, even pre-5. And then once he hits 5, he does even more, because Desert Fury's on a 75-second cooldown, and it'll half-health you. I mean, this character is pretty nut bonkers, and Sheento is the exact right guy to be playing it.
Even an Aegis from Sops wasn't enough to save his life, and you're totally right, Aggro, because not only are those offensive things you mentioned just cross off on the checklist, but there's also the defensive measures. That 75-second cooldown on that Desert Fury could be used to immune certain ultimates. If you see RussianPapi channeling through that Wind Fury ultimate, you're just going to be able to avoid it completely with the 75-second cooldown as opposed to saving your beats for later.
Netrioid, visited by Gamma once more, has lost the purification beads this time around with Gamma using the blink. Ronngyu going to show up to support and make sure that purple buff secure goes without a hitch, and it does indeed. But I think that having Gamma spend time over here on this left-hand side is a good way to maybe help out in this lane, because Netrioid's late game, we've already highlighted, it's going to be tough to shut it down. Best way to do it is kind of get on top of it early. Olorun, fantastic in the team fights, not a great laner.
Well, if you're not killing the Olorun, or at least bullying him out of the laning phase, I think limiting some of the farming potential from sBennyQ hurts Hype Unit more than it helps them out, because Netrioid's still clearing the wave outside of the tower anyway. So he's not really losing gold. He's still getting full value of all the experience. The one thing you could do in this left lane is maybe strip away some purple buffs, but because it's on their side of the map, you're not getting as much experience prior to that 15-minute mark anyway, and I don't think Netrioid has the timing window to solo his own purple buff quite yet, sitting at level 5. But with Shoes of Focus now, maybe he does have that opportunity.
Seems like he should be a little bit safer now. I mean, Gamma has the To the Skies ultimate, but that's not really a continuation ultimate. That's to get in or out of an engagement. Not great in response to Sanctified Field, which is how Netrioid will survive the majority of these engagements. So certainly the window maybe already closing a little bit on setting Netrioid behind. sBennyQ has had a pretty explosive phase. I mean, this hype unit team as a whole has been really, really excellent. You don't come into the league after not playing at all in phase 1 and be this good without having everyone play well, but I think sBennyQ in particular has really elevated his game. He's playing much more cautiously, has the cerebral part of the game, I think, has been the biggest difference for him. He's always been good mechanically.
I definitely agree there, but his builds are more standard now as opposed to the weird builds we used to see out of him before. Sops in a lot of trouble.
Sops had the Aegis, already used it, and Sheento just waited it out. 2v1 in mid lane, and you know Ronngyu and Sheento are going to combine for that. molluskk was close enough to dunk, but was clearing oracles instead. Gamma helping out there. Sops left alone, now 0-2. No Aegis for him. And Panitom has Blink, now has Boots. I wouldn't be surprised to see Panitom be blinking in sooner rather than later to try and make that a 2 in the death column into a 3.
A huge advantage for Sheento now. Just look at the stacking differential there. 44 Mage Blessing stacks coming through from Sops, whereas already completed just now. Not even 6 minutes into the Hunter's Blessing for Sheento, so he's going to be a bigger lane bully as if he wasn't already. And every time you're killing Sops or forcing him to back, you're not only delaying those stacks of the Blessing, but also the window that the Transcendence is going to be completed.
Should be pretty soon for Sheento at this rate. So he's off to a great start. Jarcorrr traded ultimates with RussianPapi last time, but this time decides to hold on. Look at this, RussianPapi, no ultimate. Here comes Panitom, Volcanic Lightning right there with Jarcorr's Lord of the Afterlife. But in mid lane, Sheento gets dunked on by molluskk. So hype unit finally on the board. But look at this rotation in from Netrioid. Sanctified Field down, molluskk beads too late. Netrioid, his rotation pays off. 4-1 now for Sanguine.
That was a clean tower dive for both Sanguine and hype unit. That solo lane gank, they barely had to invest that much of a time to get that kill onto RussianPapi. And then even on the counter return, molluskk, though, after hammering away from the tower aggro, he opts to go to the long lane.
Right.
And when there was an MIA call, not the place to be. You were better off kind of just going down the middle lane. You know the rotations from the solo lane aren't going to be there to cut you off anytime soon, so
love this.
Misjudgment.
Love this by sBennyQ. Gamma here as well, and Netrioid falls, but Benny had that one pretty locked up. Knows that Sanctified Field is down, proxies so that Netrioid thinks he can step up because sBennyQ will be rotating, and ends up just coming right behind him and getting the kill. Nicely done for sBennyQ and Gamma. They combine to bring down Netrioid, and a lead starts to materialize in that long lane.
Yeah, no stun onto Ronngyu, so he should be able to walk out. Red buff due to respawn momentarily with that purple buff. The hype unit are posturing that they want to invade. Good damage out of Ronngyu. A little bit of dots there, but he doesn't have his dash now.
Has the ultimate still. Good damage return and a little bit of healing for him. As molluskk has already exited, Gamma going to go out the hard way. Wall, good attempt by molluskk, but now has to worry about Panitom. There's the Anvil of Dawn, much needed at this position. Panitom's rotation in. Ronngyu, great bait. I think we haven't seen a lot of Terra as of late, and we all kind of forget how potent that ultimate can be.
Oh,
sBennyQ
no.
completely out of mana, and Panitom, that is clean mechanics there. Auto-canceled everything perfectly.
Look how fast he is, too, with the speed buff, using that vent as well, getting the purple buff invade in response to hype unit's purple buff invade and a red buff just for good measure. Sanguine's lead is starting to really build upon itself.
Panitom now with a 2-level lead. Same with Sheento over Sops as he's going to jump in against Sops. Knockups there, but Aegis solid from Sops. That didn't mean a lot of damage, and Panitom locked down, blink for blink. Gamma right on point with his own. And that's a huge deal. Gamma going to keep the chase going, but no way for him to close the gap onto Sheento.
Oh,
now
no.
with a molluskk ends up making a mistake. Sheento one auto short. Ronngyu might not be able to finish it.
Oh, so close of that fireball. The Sanctified Field not able to catch out molluskk with the speed buff. Should be able to escape. Panitom was looking for a play onto that tier 1 mid tower. Thinking offensively, didn't really react defensively in time for when Gamma made that rotation, disrupting that tower dive.
Man, that ball from Netrioid, so close. And it's so... This would have been one of the best plays I've seen all year. The only way he gets that kill is if he Sanctified Fields only himself.
Yes.
Because that extends, it'll shoot for as long as you charge it for it. It charges faster in Sanctified Fields, so it goes further and travels a little bit faster. But that would have been, I mean, that is thinking 10 steps ahead, man. I don't think you could ever put any blame on him for not thinking of that, 10
I
seconds
agree.
in advance.
That would have been the correct play. I think he was guessing that his own movement speed would have been in time anyway. But molluskk this time makes the correct rotation away from the danger as opposed to towards danger. He realizes, okay, Netrioid is rotating this time around. Let's not make that same mistake twice.
Netrioid is a bit risky here. I mean, no ultimate for him. Gamma and sBennyQ both know it.
Just wants to look for the steal or just the poke damage.
Got a lot of poke damage, didn't get the steal. As
Sheento in the mid lane, 1 auto should do it, and he gets the solo kill onto sops. 3-1 in comparison to sops' 1-3 so far. Sanguine, we talk so much about how they are a true team. They work together beautifully as 5 members. But a lot of times, Sheento's the guy that steals the show, and he certainly has so far here.
Definitely agree with you there. Sheento not as far ahead as I thought he would be, at least in the Transcendent stacks, but in the gold category, his net worth about 5, almost 600 total over sops, and that's going to be a big deal when it comes to the next item being purchased, whether it's going to be an Aussie or an Executioner. Normally, without going into Devil Gloves, you want to finish off the Aussie first after Ninja Tabai. Wouldn't be surprised.
Panitom knows mollusk's hammer is down, but
Gamma and RussianPapi here, so decides not to engage.
early breastplate of valor for RussianPapi, so 30% CDR very early on in the game against a very physical heavy composition. It's not the 4 physicals we see so much of these days, but pretty close to it. I mean, Terra's not going to be providing that much damage you need to worry about, especially outside of that ultimate. I think Xing Chen's one of those gods that probably gets underplayed right now. I feel
I
like
agree.
he's pretty strong.
I definitely agree with you, especially when you're going double hunters, right? Like magical into physical. That Fury Sword is so good. We always think about like Osiris being the anti-hunter. People forget about disarms too as well. Like Bellona and Fafnir still exist. AMC with the Sting with his passive is going to be pretty good. But more pressure on the soul lane. Panitom's here with Ronngyu.
3-on-2. Gamma blinks in. Panitom just ignores him. Goes straight for the buff. Big dunk coming in from molluskk though. Panitom now in a little bit of trouble, but Volcanic Lightning puts out the damage. Jungler does fall in the trade for 1-for-1. But look at this. Sheento's not rotating in. They are on Gold Fury, so sBennyQ's going to have to deal with that, but it's already gone. Sanguine get gold, and they might be winning this 3v2 anyways. A gets forced onto sops as Jarcorrr and Ronngyu take him down. And they might have RussianPapi here too. Jarcorrr, so much healing off this Glad Shield, is getting work done.
And once Ronngyu gets cooldowns, he's going to make another turnaround play potentially. There goes the stun. Going to zone away Gamma for a moment. Spirit Flail increasing the movement speed of Jarcorrr. His flail down for a little bit longer. Still going to get the Judgment Tether stun. Needs to watch out for RussianPapi's damage though.
He's got him finally, and molluskk, who got killed earlier, is now back. It is going to get a kill, but here comes Sheento. Barrel stuffs one. molluskk does get Jarcorrr, and Sheento no ultimate, and that hive actually helps molluskk out quite a bit by immuning some of that damage. So at the end of the day, it's what, a 3-for-2 in favor of Sanguine, but Sanguine also get Fury.
Yeah, that's looking very good for Sanguine. Very clean as well to recognize that Jarcorrr and Ronngyu were able to take the remainder of that 2-on-3. Up, down out of Jarcorrr. Gets the Osiris passive. I believe hits both of those players anyway. Gets that 16% physical mitigation, 8% magical, and it's impossible for the front line out of Hyping to really dent the armor out of Sanguine.
Level 13 Osiris just a little bit too much to bring down. Jarcorrr certainly padded the stats in that brawl. And so did Ronngyu. I mean, right there with him, brawling it out. A couple solo laners and guardians, but having one warrior instead of the double guardian ends up being impactful. molluskk, no hammer anymore.
He's
Great
dead.
support from Gamma, but not good enough. Now Gamma in some trouble, and he recognizes it. Immediately takes to the sky, but it's sops who is the target. Impale does miss, but here comes Panitom. Easy Pyroclast to close the gap, and with that blink, and then toss the one. This 3v3 in mid for Sanguine, it's been so much a part of their success, and it has been so far here in this one for sure. 5 kills for both Panitom and Sheento.
That was kind of cute that Jarcorrr recognized that the aggro was still possible, that RussianPapi was inside that blue circle as Pyromancer goes down to Sanguine. Now, the thing is, with every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. You're looking for the aggressive play? Well, so is Sanguine. With the hammer being down, molluskk was in no man's land. He would need to literally channel the Anvil of Dawn as soon as he missed there, because the stun into the root. Desert Fury is just guaranteed. Sheento even opting for Executioner as opposed to the Aussie is just really going to hurt with those basic attacks.
I love this call from Sheento. I mean, normally we see Crusher or Aussie in that slot. Instead, he sees the Xing along the way. He's already got a Breastplate of Valor and just says, I'm going to kill whoever's in front of me. And I'll have enough damage to kill squishies without Crusher. That's not a concern. It's really these frontliners I need to be worried about. And I think that he has gone with the perfect option here in the Executioner. Now can go Aussie or Chin Size. I'd expect an Aussie in that slot, but either one could probably get the job done.
He's so far ahead that it honestly does not matter. Level
jeez.
15 to Sops' level 11. If molluskk even dares show up, he'll die.
molluskk gets to the sky, and Sheento actually leaps in. That might be the call to go aggressive. molluskk finds a dunk, and it's on a Panitom. Never gets the Volcanic Lightning off. That great Desert Fury through the wall nearly finds Sops, but not quite enough damage for Sheento. And as a result, Hype Unit get the 1 for nothing and a couple relics. Panitom used the beads. Netrioid used the ult, as did Ronngyu and Sheento. That's a good fight for Hype Unit.
Meanwhile, Solane are still slapping each other with pillows over their little sleepover for the blue buffs. I think RussianPapi was able to return the favor, stripping away Jarcorr's blue because of that whirlwind of Rage and Steel. But Panitom has a few questionable deaths, but he has total trust and faith in his teammates to clean up in his over-aggressive position. And I like that idea. As a Pele, you're looking to go in, Volcanic Lightning, get the knock-up, and that is plenty of AoE damage for all the supporting cast to clean up.
Looks like he's going a bit tankier now so that he can not rely quite as much on everyone else to do the job once he's dead. Looks like it's going to be a Blackthorn Hammer for him next up, which I like quite a bit. Look at Jarcorrr just go to work on RussianPapi right now, but Whirlwind of Rage and Steel is coming up. Sheento's here as well.
No mana.
No mana for RussianPapi. Just enough. Sheento's got a beads, and they'll kill him, but you got an ultimate from Jarcorrr and Sheento's beads. Could have been worse for RussianPapi.
Oh, it definitely could have been a little bit worse, but now there needs to be defense. Hype Unit needs to make this rotation with Sheento here in that solo lane. You got to respect this level 16 Anhur's potential to get the tier 2 tower.
Sheento's been all over the map, man. I mean, he's jumping in on back harpies. He's in the long lane. He's in solo. You like can't get away from him. Jarcorrr gets away from Gamma, though, with a cute little blink. Gets him out of that danger. Sheento has just run this game, and it's really because of how well he and Panitom and Ronngyu play the 3v3 in mid. It's certainly not like he's doing everything by himself, but now that he's starting to extend this lead to the side lanes, it's going to make it a lot harder for Hype Unit to come back.
It's true. His DPS with Netrioid's DPS from that long lane melted the first objective. sBennyQ couldn't stop it in time, but Sanguine are not interested in that Primal Fury quite yet, as they do started just now.
Sheento there and doing chunks of damage with every single auto attack, but here comes molluskk into the sky. sBennyQ gets pillar stun. Beads are there. Netrioid has to use his own purification bead. Sanctified Field is fantastic to stop this team fight as Panitom cleans up molluskk on the backside. Jarcorrr takes a lot of damage and finds a great ultimate, lands on 2, and then just wiggles his way out of there, leaving Panitom to pick up the double kill. Panitom looking for a third over the wall, but can't quite find it. Doesn't matter, though. Hype Unit already scattered because Sanguine crushes yet another team fight.
And that should be a free Primal Fury after the fact. Panitom still aggressive, undeterred from his previous couple of deaths, this time with Jarcorr's rotation. That's the difference here with the level 17 Osiris, you know, slapping a Xing in the solo lane versus being in the team fight. Sops couldn't disengage, a great ultimate to keep him in place with the root. Prevents any sort of healing as well from Gamma's point of view, so a great team fight. Sanguine flexing their lead even further.
Now up to almost 8,000 gold, almost 10,000 experience. Only 18 minutes in. Remember, these are the 2 of the 3 top teams. Whoever wins this game takes first seed in this set. Armada on bye week, so you don't have to worry about what they're going to do this week. This is for the top of the North American Minor League, and you're getting one of your toughest matchups out of the way. This is, if you win here, whatever team wins here, I think is probably over 80% to make it to land, if not higher than that.
And last time that these teams faced off was in Week 3, where Hype Unit found that 2-0 victory. But thus far, Sanguine looks like they've learned a lot from their previous mistakes in that set, and as they're controlling the left side of the map and now transitioning over to the right.
Fire Giant Feels like pretty early. No beads for Netrioid, remember, as molluskk goes to the
Frenzy.
pit. Frenzy there, and RussianPapi realizes, but it's too late. Sanguine already has Fire Giant. Molluskk is up, and Sanctified Field being down is a good initiation opportunity. He'll find Panitom. Beads are there. Sheento uses his ultimate for CC immunity. Stinger used by sops as well. And Sanguine totally fine not winning a team fight. They got the big objective. That's the Fire Giant.
I like the positioning that Sheento and Netrioid had there because it wasn't easy for molluskk to find any multiple targets with that Anvil of Dawn. He had to choose onto somebody. He hit Panitom. He hoped he hit a little bit more there, but there was no realistic team for Hype Unit to engage with that Anvil of Dawn. The damage was already done and completed on that objective. Sanguine are now in a position to strip away the last 2 remaining Tier 2 towers.
We've got a bit of a wave left here, but they won't need it. Ronngyu can tank this forever, it feels like, especially with the extra healing
Oh, yeah.
from Netrioid. Lotus Crown
Monolith.
pickup for Ronngyu as well. I mean, you've got tons of healing here for Sanguine, and good anti-heal options on the other side. I mean, Brawler's Beat Stick for both molluskk and sops, so both of them are going to be applying it consistently. RussianPapi has the Pestilence. No Divine Ruin for sBennyQ, but could end up going into it next if he really wants to. I really do not like this early Gem of Isolation, though.
Too
for
early.
sBennyQ.
I don't mind it, but it is a little too early. I like the item on him, but it could have been maybe after Divine Ruin. So Divine Ruin should have been in place of Gem of Isolation, and then you could be building into it. The thing
Yeah.
is, like, if you're forcing team fights on your own terms, then it is a good idea.
Sure.
Maybe there's some solo kill potential as well against Netrioid. You can force an early beads, but that's
Yeah.
just thinking too inside the box.
I agree. And Merlin's one of those characters I wish I had 9 item slots for, and Gem of Isolation would be like my 9th pickup. I mean,
Sure.
Shaman's Ring's so good. I mean, you got so many things. Chronos Pendant's great on him. molluskk looks for Jarcorrr, who is alone, and the boys are in tow. Jarcorrr ults away, but Gamma's on the way from this direction. Gamma going to start backing so he can maybe defend this Phoenix, as Jarcorrr is going to fall, just too isolated from the rest of the squad. Gamma's in the sky. RussianPapi dead before he hits the ground. Gamma and Sops both here. Sops just backed, and welcome to the team fight, buddy. Sheento puts him down again. That's 5 in a row for Sheento. sBennyQ does find Netrioid in that backline as the laners going against it still in the late game. But eventually it is all over. Sheento with the triple kill, 8 and 1 on the Anhur in the mid lane. And Sanguine didn't even look like they broke a sweat.
Definitely not. Sheento 8-1-6, 14 of his team's 21 kills, 66% participation. This Anhur mid was the MVP for sure.
Crushed it, man. And Hype Unit feels like they're sliding back a little bit. I mean, we see this all the time in traditional sports. I mean, the kind of rookie success, you come in, you have a new flavor, no one's really ready for it. And now it seems like it's a bit of a sophomore slump for Hype Unit. They just lost 2-0 to Armada. Now they get creamed by Sanguine game 1. I mean, obviously this next one's a must win, but it feels like even more so with how much is at stake.
And their draft was fine, honestly. I like it personally. I just
Sure.
don't think that they played accordingly, where Sops was too isolated in the front line, where he got picked off by Ronngyu and Sheento. He needed to be a little bit more passive in the mid lane. You can't give up those early kills to an Anhur that's such a beast in the mid game.
Yeah, I just feel like at some point the draft is fine. At some point you just got to look and say Sheento was better than Sops that game. And you know,
Yeah.
that goes a long way, especially with how important that 3v3 in mid is right now. Hype Unit, certainly some things they've got to work on. Sanguine, just one game away from being your top seed in the North American SML. Let's throw it to Hinduman and Zero as we get ready for game 2.
Yeah, thanks so much, boys. Honestly, I think what Ryan's saying is actually true. With how game 1 went, I think we'll see Sanguine be the #1 seed this week, unless Hype Unit can turn it around. Zero's joining me in the desk, though. Sheento played Anhur and popped.
He did pretty well, yeah.
Yeah.
I thought maybe because the enemy team had Horus and AMC, which I thought maybe they could punish him, but that was not the case this game. And this Anhur, like I think I mentioned it before, he was higher or the same level at the soul lane, and that is pretty rare to see from a mid lane in this day. So.
Oh, God, whinging about the mid lane again, aren't we? Hey, always the same with you boys there. Sanguine down game 1 very well. At the tail end of that game, though, we saw them all pile in to try and kill Jarcorrr on the Osiris and then leave the Phoenix exposed. What was that about?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, like I think that game was pretty much over anyway, so they probably tried to make something desperate. I mean, they did make it back to base before they ended, but I mean, it just wasn't enough at that point. It was so far behind.
Early on, though, Panitom on this Pele caused issues. How do you feel about Pele, anyway?
She's kind of weird, I feel. Like, if she can get rolling early game, she can have so much impact, right? Especially against this immobile. She's against AMC, can't get away from him.
Good point.
And she has so much damage when she gets to ult in and just use her full combo with auto cancels and all that. So, in this game, definitely worked out.
Is she very feast or famine in terms of playstyle, then, if she doesn't get off to a good start? Or, like, does she need to be ahead at the beginning to really make an impact?
She doesn't necessarily need to be ahead, I think, but I mean, it kind of depends too what you're against. In this case, she's against a Merlin and an AMC, which is both pretty easy targets for her. So in this game, she probably didn't need to be ahead to do work, but then if you're against some more slippery carries, I feel like she probably needs to be ahead,
That makes sense. Okay, well, we've seen a bit of Pele here today. Excited to see what Game 2 has in store for us then, as Hype Unit have to answer back, otherwise Sanguine will be the #1 over in the minor league in North America for the time being. Hype Unit with the first pick, they're going to ban away the Terra early on.
Interesting. I guess their first pick so they can throw away ban, they might leave some of the OP picks open so they can get them for themselves and just target ban here, I suppose.
Is it normally the first 2 picks that you see that happen with first pick now, where it's kind of like, we just don't want to deal with these characters?
Yeah, I mean, I think it depends from team to team, but on first pick you definitely have room to like, let's just ban what they played really well on last game, right? So that's what they're doing here.
Go from there. Thor, Terra, and Persephone, of course, taken away. Isis, Olorun, and then Ratatoska. So looking to take away a bit of that global presence, or semi-global, that you're going to get from that Rat Ultimate. And the early game Acorn can make a difference too. Hype Unit, them, the first selection, they're going to get set because it's up and available. Where do you prefer this played?
Solo lane for sure. I think set. I feel like he can build all the good items that he needs. I personally think Set is good as a bruiser. You want the Black Moss Hammer, you want the Void Shield, the Runic Shield, those kind of items. He can be such a mid-game beast if he gets ahead and going, which he should in most cases. So, yeah.
And I guess if the game goes late as well, you can transition from that build into a more damage-focused one if you need it. Anhur, Thoth for Sanguine, though. That's already made me very happy as a Sanguine supporter here, because Anhur had a great game last time, and you got Thoth in the dual lane, which is one of your specialties.
Yeah, for sure. Thoth so good. This is kind of weird. Amaterasu. Wait, Amaterasu has been picked up. I was worried she was going through without. They have Amaterasu, so well. But yeah, as you said, Thoth so good in dual lane, like probably the strongest laner right now, I think.
Yeah.
And they looked really good early game, last game Sanguine. So if they can keep rolling early game, like.
Is that just to do with the range with Thoth? Is the reason we've been seeing played some more? What is it he's bringing that everyone's valuing now?
I mean, the range obviously, but it's just a buff. When they buffed his one, it does like more damage for every shot you hit. Now he just has too much poke to deal with. Like, Gods doesn't have enough sustain to deal with his poke, and like it just makes him. He has so much kill pressure against squishy targets. So.
Okay, we'll see if they can make it work with that. Amaterasu, as you said, has been drafted for Hype Unit, which is surprising to see them get both Set and Amaterasu with the banning phase going through. I think some of that's down to, I guess, Sanguine play with confidence here with how game 1 went.
Yeah, I feel they're probably just drafting like comfortable pick for them. I guess like first game was not even close, to be honest. And I mean, I think as you said, they're probably just comfortable in what they did, and they're just probably gonna play comfort picks now and probably just win.
I will say Chernobog has had a big rise in popularity as of late, playing flex towards the dual lane or the mid lane too. What is it that Chern's bringing now, Zeros? Is there something that you've seen happen with this god of why he's starting to get picked up more?
I feel like he's always been good. It's just kind of weird because like he's not that great at fighting early game, like compared to like the honors and stuff that have risen after all the buffs they've been receiving. But still, like he always has the global. Wherever you put mid or dual lane, there's so much global pressure on the map with Chernobog, and that's like what really makes him good, I think.
Yeah, the global pressure does come into play. Sol as well, drafted for Hype Unit alongside Kumbhakarna. Horus and Susano, the last picks for Sanguine, so I'm excited to see how the Susano goes. Into game 2 we go. No hesitating here. Aggro, Toli, take it away.
Thank you, Hindu and Zeros. Sanguine looking for a big 2-0 victory here, because not only would the victory be huge for them, but plus minus is going to be relevant almost certainly as we get towards the back half of Phase 2. So 2-0 would be relevant instead of just a 2-1. And Sheento being back on the Anhur, I think, is a great place to start if you're Sanguine.
Absolutely, going, what was that, 8-1-6, 14 of his team's 21 kills, an impressive start. But sBennyQ feeling frisky. I like this idea because you want to be building up your heat on the soul passive, extra magical power, extra attack speed. It's going to help you not only out-poke Netrioid, but maybe out-clear him with the basic attacks. Thoth needs magical power to really start out-clearing the soul with the hieroglyphic assaults.
And Netrioid starts boots 1, so not a whole lot of power for him, whereas sBennyQ has
the tiny trinket. That's more power and a little bit of lifesteal, so that will certainly favor him as red buff secured by hype unit. Invade successful. Sheento shoves them away as looks like sBennyQ might be successful on an invade of his own, all by his lonesome. Netrioid no cooldowns, and sBennyQ now with a noticeable lead in this long lane. We're seeing a lot more soul as of late, Tully. Any idea why?
The Saturate is super safe. Kronos was safe as well with the rewind, but with some of the nerfs to some of the rings and stuff, I don't think you have to build rings on Soul in general. You can get away with magical power, and I think that could be another reason that we're seeing the resurgence of the Heat Goddess over here. But more importantly, I think it's like the control that she has in teamfights. She doesn't necessarily bring a stun or a rouge. She has a slow in the Stellar Burst, a small little miniature knockup on the Supernova, but that's super important for the 1v1 kill potential, or maybe pick potential rather.
Certainly can bring that all by her lonesome. I mean, hype unit has a great draft this game by my estimation. If you can get Amaterasu and Set on your side, I think you're feeling pretty good. But molluskk is playing this set in the jungle. No blessing for him. He's gone with the Boots Rush. Starts with full Ninja Tabi. And Set does not seem like a character that can really afford to go without a blessing. I mean, he's got low mana costs, but no sustain in the kit until the ultimate. Normally you see this gods like Ratatoskr and Thanatos that sustain themselves up and are able to clear because they have cleaves. Set doesn't have any of that in the kit.
Doesn't seem like he's struggling too much in terms of the jungle pacing up against Panitom that's playing the Susano. In fact, he's up on experience. Panitom struggling a lot because of all these invades from hype unit. molluskk sharing some more waves as well. So he'll be accelerated towards the level 5 where he will get the sustain. His speed buff is up, though. I don't know if Sanguine are aware of it.
Probably will be with Panitom having his, but Panitom can easily rotate in and affect this team fight. sBennyQ stunned and knocked up. Gamma gets out of range of that Mesmerize perfectly. sBennyQ, the rest of the boys do get the red buff, but now their low health bar has got to get on the run. Sops is just a little bit too late to exit. Tries exiting towards the whole team instead of just going straight south. Just weird positioning by all of hype unit.
That's true. I mean, and that's one way for Panitom to catch up in the experience department is get the first blood. Now even with more net worth on top of it, not a good spot to be in for sBennyQ either.
Ronngyu has already forced purification beads. Oh no, Panitom blinked in and it brought Ronngyu with him, but it doesn't matter because they already killed sBennyQ. He made a hard U-turn there to get back into the team fight. That was what I haven't seen that interaction yet.
That was calculated, if anything, because they wanted to bait hype unit in a bad spot. It's like, ooh, I'm a lonely Horus all by myself. Come get me, but
and then
no.
Scourge is right back in as soon as it looks like he's gonna end up getting out of there. But that was fun. Horus 3, the Protector Surge, is a fun ability to use. Those timing windows, you can do some pretty preposterous stuff. You can follow Giannis through portals. You can cover a lot of ground pretty quickly if you time that well enough.
That would be pretty fun to see. Maybe, can you back with it?
No, backs cancel it, for sure.
Bummer.
Yeah. Because you become untargetable during that.
Well, can you dash to a teammate that's backing and then go to the fountain with them?
No. I think that breaks it, but Blink, I guess, does not.
Wait, so you can cancel your teammates back by going?
No, your 3 you'll just end up where they were.
Okay.
Or it'll just outright get canceled. I don't think you can go all the way back to base. That seems pretty good. molluskk level 5. He gets this position. Panitom just a little bit short on the damage. molluskk used both Kingslayer and the Sandstorm to get away. So still pretty good, but man, that one awfully close for comfort. That Mez coming from Gamma on Panitom is what saves his jungler's life.
We haven't talked about the soul lane matchup, but Jarcorrr has a 2-level lead without any kills and without any deaths on RussianPapi. He's just been able to outfarm and out-clear him every step of the way. 3 Totem of Qs, though, did go to hype unit, surprisingly.
RussianPapi may be spending a bit too much time going for those Qs and losing lane pressure for it. Seems a little bit odd to have them that much in your favor, but be down 2 levels and have lost your last blue buff to the solo invade. Jarcorrr going to put Sanguine on the board with the Totem of Q, and not miss a minion for it.
No teleport as well. Blue buff is respawning for hype unit. This is where Jarcorrr should have that window of opportunity to look for the invade because RussianPapi has to make that decision. Do I go for the blue buff or the wave? And look, he's going to be clearing the blue buff, but he'll keep his back as close as possible towards the lane, so he'll still receive the experience, but every single minion that died gets hit by the tower, so you're not getting the full value of the gold.
A little surprised Jarcorrr doesn't go for the invade, but probably sitting on a good amount of gold at this point.
He might not have had the window.
Yeah.
He might not have cleared that little mini-map icon.
Fair enough. Jarcorrr blocks the dash, and that's going to force RussianPapi into the ultimate just to clear the wave. molluskk is invading and might have to take a fight up against Panitom. Blink in from Panitom, but molluskk has one of his own. Jarcorrr, no boots, so he's awfully slow. Going to be difficult for him to catch up. But Panitom can close the gap to RussianPapi, but decides not to expend the ultimate. Sops even uses the ultimate.
Yeah, Sops now could be in a little bit of trouble. Does get that dash off under the obelisk, actually. That intercepted either way. That's the cool thing about Chernobog dash is that you can go into the player deployable walls, the Anhur obelisk, the Odin wall, the Ymir wall.
Super cool, man. This god, I think, it's underrated as far as cool factor.
Oh, he's in trouble now, though. His dash is still down.
Blink is up for Ronngyu. I'm very surprised that he doesn't blink in and go for the fracture because Sheento through the wall with Desert Fury kills him from that health.
I agree. I think that was a slightly missed opportunity. I think the call was just to clear mid-wave and then set up for the red buff invade, but the timing not super accurate.
Went for it, missed it, back it up. No problems there. Left side mid-harpies. Bit of an oversplit. Quad-splitting mid-harpies not going to get you a whole lot of good, but does make sure that the enemy team isn't getting them, and better than nothing, so
That's true.
we take those. Sanguine not off to as explosive of a start here in the early game, but Ronngyu, look at that use of the mobility. Sops locked down, and now with just a sliver of HP. But Ronngyu, thinking about chasing, decides to, but not going to find that now. molluskk going to be able to chew him up for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Ronngyu gets blocked by Sheento's pillar. So RussianPapi makes the rotation in. Mirror does good damage. 180 impale, good enough. molluskk might still be hunting, but I don't think he's going to find any prey there. Great idea. I love that creativity of the Horus kit, man. Protector Surge onto the minion, block, knock up into Fracture. But maybe he should be, I think if he led, or he led with the Gust. I think if he leads with the 2, then you don't get the
then
DR
Gust,
from
yeah.
the Gust, then you get that kill.
The true knockups are so valuable because of that aspect, the diminishing return value. It's roots and stuns that don't really mess around with each other. But this is another kill here for Jarcorrr, or rather his first one. Easy onto Sops. No beat still, Living Nightmare. You can't really interrupt King Arthur in that manner. Very good opportunity for him. But look at the build from molluskk now rushing into this Frostbound Hammer.
I mean, lets him get HP, its power. It lets him box really well in the 1v1 because he's slowing your attack speed and slowing you, but I feel like Blackthorn's probably just a little bit better in that spot, right? Cheaper.
It is
gives you
cheaper.
some CDR.
Not by much, but it is cheaper.
Yeah. It's kind of odd. I
I like Frostbound.
Frostbound's good. I like the build that Frostiak went for earlier. Blackthorn into Frostbound makes a lot of sense. Is look at this, Jarcorrr looping around the back just short on the damage to kill Gamma right there. But he can just walk out. My man's level 10. He owns this area of the map at this point.
They should be able to get the tier 1 mid tower off of it, or maybe even get a kill onto sBennyQ.
That was odd. Panitom a little bit messed up there. Netrioid ends up getting messed up himself, and Panitom cleans it up for the double kill. Sops has had a bit of a tough one so far today, Tolly. Did not do very well in Game 1. Now 0-3 in just 9 minutes here in Game 2.
And he's playing a safer god, so he has no real excuse as to why he has 3 deaths already. He has 2 forms of escape between the ultimate and the dash. And I think he has more assistance as well in terms of the early game pressure from Hype Unit with the invades early on to the red, the purple. We saw molluskk start the ninja tab by rotating around, but still not enough. Sheento with a slight edge.
RussianPapi being harassed by Jarcorrr, but Jarcorrr is low on mana. No blue buff for him, so this is all he's got as far as damage. Not enough. Very close, though. If he had mana, RussianPapi's dead, but here comes Panitom. No blink, but a jet stream would close the gap from here. He's going to tank it up. And he'll get stunned by
That's a lot.
RussianPapi. In fact, RussianPapi turns it around and finds a solo kill, and Jarcorrr, no mana, needs one more ability. He gets it, but now he tanked the tower. molluskk is here, and it's going to be a 2-for-1, it looks like, unless Jarcorrr is able to really make this work. Gamma doing more harm than good, giving Jarcorrr more mana and HP off that Glad Shield proc, but in the end, molluskk does clean up the 2-for-1.
A lot of attention on this right side of the map. Surprised not to see Sanguine go for the Gold Fury the same way they did in game number 1, right? Like,
Yeah.
that was a lot of damage from this Anhur Olorun combination. But this time, Netrioid not on the Olorun, playing the Thoth. Has the burst potential to secure the objective, but not the primary damage to get it low.
molluskk solo. That's twice now that a member of Hype Unit has just stayed too long. It was Sops on his own blue, where Jarcorrr picks him up, and there, Ronngyu on the molluskk. And those kills go a long way to getting Sanguine in a position where they are ready to win this set.
That's kind of the ranked mentality, unfortunately. You
Yeah.
do want to get the stuff after you get the kills, but at the same time, when you have to respect the MIA calls.
Agreed.
Like, this Horus can be anywhere. In fact, like, if there was a ward there, you could just straight up to the skies you and kill you from there. They didn't even need to use that ultimate to get the kill.
SBennyQ knows that he's in a bit of trouble, but Gamma there to support is enough to scare off the double blinks of Panitom and Ronngyu. This mid lane, despite the 0-3 for Sops, not nearly as far behind as he was in game 1. Sheento actually behind in XP by just a sliver, I think. I mean, that's look, you can go 0-3 and still be doing okay in farm. Yeah, I mean, he's ever so slightly ahead in XP per minute. Hasn't been that big of a deal, I suppose.
I think there was a lot of solo farming from Sops, not too much pressure from Gamma and molluskk assisting in the lane clear, whereas Ronngyu has always been in this mid lane every wave.
Sops knocked up. Big damage to him quickly as actually the target is molluskk. The lockdown from Jarcorrr is real. The Desert's Fury is even better. 8 kills now for Sanguine, and they're mid pressure. They just continue to outclass Hype Unit in this 3v3.
Now the rotations from the soul laners are going to be impactful and important for this Gold Fury attempt. Sanguine going to start it up. Jarcorrr is still zoning. Panitom halfway mark. It's up to SBennyQ to potentially steal this.
Disrupted by Panitom, but SBennyQ put some good damage out on his own. Gold Fury getting very low, and Sanguine secure it. But here comes Sops. Living Nightmare brings him into the team fight, and Jarcorrr welcomes him with open arms. Welcome back, buddy. Would you like death number 4? Jarcorrr does get peeled away. Good job by RussianPapi and Gamma, but now it's SBennyQ who gets chewed up by that Blade Storm. Jarcorr's found one. Jarcorrr looking for his second. He'll find it. It's a double kill. Make that 3, or it was going to be until the passive kicked in for Gamma. molluskk does get at least one. It's a double kill for molluskk, actually, as he finds both Ronngyu and Panitom. Now it's a triple kill for him as Netrioid in trouble. Great impale puts molluskk back at bay, and now Sheento going to put an end to the spree. Desert Fury back up right on time, and RussianPapi just barely able to escape. A back-and-forth engagement. That was pentakill territory for molluskk.
Absolutely. In fact, his skewer was coming up any second there. It's a 7-second cooldown without CDR. Very important that Sheento jumped in there to chase that kill. molluskk couldn't get out of that one, but at least gets a triple kill after Sanguine gets that Gold Fury, but not able to make anything happen. Unfortunately, in that team fight, RussianPapi, when he used that dazzling offensive, he was doing too many things at once. He tried to peel originally by hitting Jarcorrr, but then the third strike of it doesn't hit Jarcorrr, so he doesn't get stunned, and then SBennyQ dies instantly because of the spin to win.
Huge deal. Jarcorrr unchecked so far in these team fights, and no anti-heal at all for Hype Unit. You're going to kind of let him run wild,
There
right?
was a cursed Ankh pop by RussianPapi in that last fight,
okay.
upgraded as well, so it did limit all the Gladiator shield procs.
Interesting. That seems like a big overinvestment, though, to me. I mean, you want anti-heal for sure, but, like, just get a contagion.
Well, here's the idea, or probably the thought process is like you either commit all the way or none of the way for the anti-healing. And I like this idea from the Cursed Ankh because now you have another item slot into something. You're also limiting some of the healing coming through from Ronngyu. So it's not terrible.
I don't know, man. I mean, I just feel like you're losing frenzy.
Okay.
Look at that final judgment from Netrioid. Sops bullied again. 0-5 now. And that one, I can't even put blame on him. What's he supposed to do in that spot? Netrioid roams free and is able to put the pressure on. RussianPapi backdoors this tier 1, but he's low health. That means that he knows he's probably going to have to back. No, he's going to stick around as Sanguine has actually started the big fight.
I can make an excuse for sops. Here's the excuse. If RussianPapi was there with the Divine Presence aura, he would have been faster to get away from the final judgment.
Big brain, totally nicely done. Beads used by SBennyQ ultimate as well. Netrioid very low, and Dazzling Offensive's going to clean it up. RussianPapi finds his second kill of the game. molluskk in the back line as well. They take down Sheento. Jarcorrr is able to answer back as Panitom finds SBennyQ in that back line, but molluskk with another multi-kill, this time a double, and he might be looking for trips once again. Epic uppercut solid. Ronngyu here to try and provide a shield, but all it does is ensure that he's likely to fall on the back end of this. A poor call by Sanguine to pull big fire ends up really punishing them. If that's a Pyromancer pull, totally, I don't think any of that happens.
Yeah, I don't mind that play if it's only the Pyromancer. Definitely feeling themselves too much. Now, it was a bait to force a team fight, but I think Hype Unit were going to contest the Pyromancer regardless.
Yeah, I agree. Ronngyu doesn't secure the objective and will die for his attempt. That seems like an odd objective to die for there as well.
Yeah, you don't want to die for like tier 1 towers. You don't want to die for the Pyromancer, depending on what stage of the game it is, right?
Right.
Like, if you can get something out of it, then sure. But if you are going to die, regardless if you steal it or not, regardless if you defend the tier 1 tower or not, is it really worth it? Probably not. It's only 500 gold that you're getting for your teammates, and then you're losing map pressure. Now with Ronngyu dead, he's respawning soon because he's only level 12, but it was about a 30-second respawn timer, so you're losing some buffs potentially if the timing matches.
RussianPapi's actually over here in the long lane now. Probably just want him to get some farm before the next Gold Fury attempt. That looks like the next likely point of engagement between these two teams is Jarcorrr and molluskk have at it. molluskk has gone for stone cutting into Bloodforge right after that Frostbound Hammer. It's a bit of an odd build, but I don't hate it. I think that it can make some sense. As molluskk used Kingslayer because Jarcorrr is just beating on him. Sops and Gamma have to show up just to assist. And Jarcorrr, I don't think, is that concerned about all of this. I mean, he's going to have to get to go eventually. As Gamma finds a good epic uppercut, that might seal the deal. Jarcorrr stuck in that crystallized curse. No, it's Sops who nearly falls. That was close, though. Jarcorrr nearly got the job done, 3v1.
The King Arthur in a nutshell, all just like that. molluskk thought that he could 2v1. Now SBennyQ gonna fall because all of Sanguine are on the left.
Panitom almost died to the tower, but a sick heal from Ronngyu saves him. And the dive was good by the boys of Hype Unit on the right, but a little bit better by Sanguine here on the left. 2 instead of 1. And they won't get the tower. They'll have to back up, and a lot expended in order to get those kills. But seems worth it to me. molluskk takes advantage of this time to go and get some extra farm, pushes down the tier 1 in mid.
Can you believe King Arthur is getting 6th pick still?
Yep. Yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty good, man. I mean, the Onk still kind of makes me scratch my head, though. I mean, if molluskk has a Brawlers or a Toxic Blade, you don't need to invest that whole big relic slot. As Sops had relics initially, doesn't use them, and gets punished pretty quickly for it. A sick Pillar Impale by Sheento, but Sops had beads and just kind of stood there and got wind siphoned.
Yeah, not the play, unfortunately. Sops' positioning has been left more to be desired, unfortunately. Can't really make anything happen on the Muzen game 1 or the Chernobog game 2. And the idea from Hype Unit's builds with the Cursed Onk, with the Bloodforge stone cutting, is about these team fights.
Knock up doesn't land. Dazzling offensive there for RussianPapi. He's going to take his time and put some damage in because SBennyQ's on the way. So is Panitom. Panitom gets rooted. Sheento in tow. Gamma now stunned. Knocked up. Already knocked down. Into the passive. Down he goes. Sheento with his 4th. This is a weird spot for molluskk to be, considering the rest of the boys already decided to bounce. He's left alone. Has to beads just in case that root hit, but he's safe now. Has Blink to get away, but this opens up a ton of space for the Primal Fury. RussianPapi, no ult, but still wants to step up and try and get the steal in their favor. Sanguine get the objective with that final judgment, but it wasn't comfortable. Panitom 1v1ing up against molluskk. molluskk gets over the wall with the Sandstorm, but here comes Ronngyu with Sheento alongside him. Did they teleport the Typhoon? Or was it Panitom already there?
I think Panitom was already there, and he dropped the Typhoon,
Okay.
thinking that molluskk was going to get hit by it, but molluskk, not in combat, was able to blink away.
Okay. I was going to say, that would be really sick. I don't know if that works. I don't think it's a...
You could transport, like, player minions, like
Yeah, you
Tusky and the
Yeah.
kitties.
I don't think you could teleport the Typhoon, but boy, would that be sick.
Like, if you could teleport abilities... Because
Alright.
you could channel Ymir ult or Sobek ult
Yeah.
and then get transported.
That's true.
Because it's around you.
But that's, yeah, you're attached to it. I think that might be the difference.
Alright, what else is attached to gods? That's really, really good.
Ymir ult is definitely one that we haven't seen be utilized yet that I want to see. You could... Well, no, because you could teleport Boulder. You could teleport, like, Herc as he's throwing the boulder, and it will launch to where the launch point is. In a
I've
weird spot.
seen some weird arena video.
Yeah, I saw the exact same one. Tier as well, where he, like, picks his landing point and then gets teleported out, but still flies to the landing point. Yo, what if you could, like, if it did take projectiles, which I don't think it does, but if it does...
Spirit Ball?
You take Giannis ult, just redirect it. You just change the direction.
That would be nuts, but also, like, because of the distance travel... Oh, alright, hype you to get that one.
That would
But
be
if
pretty
you
cool.
can throw Spirit Ball,
Yeah.
and then you're transported all the way back, how much damage would it actually do?
Oh, interesting. Also, Herc 2, where, you can do the
Yes.
trick where you Herc 2 and then blink. I wonder if that works.
That
That's a-
window is so small, though.
Yeah, that would be really tough. But
Because they like,
all right,
squirm
guys.
around.
I know it's a group of friends who does those arena videos for Reddit. That's the next one. I want to see someone get Herc 2'd and then Horus pulled.
I bet it's been done.
Probably.
Somebody's done.
Link me if it's already been done. Sanguine getting it done so far here in this set, but not by nearly as much this time around. 22 minutes in, they're only up about 3K. And that's one that is going to be noticeable, but certainly not game-ending at this point. molluskk has done a very good job of farming. Level 20, the only jungler to reach that point. We're one of only 2 players. Sheento does have a 3-level lead over sops in the mid lane, but that lead isn't getting any bigger. Jarcorr's got a 2-level lead. Everywhere else pretty much even so far. So hype unit certainly still in this one. It's got to be centered around molluskk. What plays can he make in order to get hype unit back in?
And he's looking for Netrioid on the left side with sops. You want to definitely stick sops in the long lane. Use that Living Nightmare ultimate to its full effectiveness. Good ward out of Sanguine there. Even, I don't know if he stole away that purple buff or not, but either way, identify that it was a 2-on-1, so should be safe as Netrioid.
Not anymore. He's in trouble now because sops and molluskk both on top of him. Ronngyu provides a shield, but it's not enough. Too much damage out of these 2 physical damage dealers. And they bring him down. Now Ronngyu is going to get killed as well. Hey, is set good? That looks pretty good to me. Panitom, yo, you want to try? molluskk down for this. Typhoon being charged. Sops gets knocked up, and the Aegis saves his life. But Panitom does eventually finish him off. Jarcorrr decides to join the fray, and molluskk just barely able to escape. Impale a bit off the mark there from Sheento on the way down from that Excalibur's Wrath. Double stun from Jarcorrr. Slow is good as well. SBennyQ could take a path in, but it seems like the fight is over with. 2 for 1, but molluskk certainly showing off what he's capable of.
I think he's hit that power spike in his build where he can make these plays now. Dive in the tier 2 tower. You're relying on not only the sustain from Kingslayer, but now your Bloodforge. You're lowering the enemy's protection, gaining some for yourself with that stone cutting blade. So that's a huge swing of defenses. So I like this idea with the build. It just took a little while to ramp up to where the state is.
Zeros talks a lot about Set being a great mid-game character, and we're definitely on the back half of the later game, if already not into the basic late game. But this build does allow molluskk to be a little bit more effective at this point. It's healthy with both the Mantle of Discord and the Frostbound Hammer. You've got great damage between the Stone Cutting and the Bloodforge. It's expensive. This build is not cheap, but molluskk has made it work thus far.
Doesn't have that much power where he could go like Heartseeker, for example. With such a low cooldown on Skewer, I'm surprised that he opted not to go for that kind of a cooldown build into Heartseeker with a lot of power like Transcendence, Heartseeker and whatnot, but still been successful. He's A3 and 4. He's been a part of 12 of his team's 15 kills, 80% kill participation.
Top of his team on player damage as well. Probably working into a Titan's Bane to finish off the build, get as much pen as he can. Sheento
What if it's Crusher?
walks out. Could be good for attack speed. You already got pen by way of stone cutting. I think I prefer the Titan's Bane, though. You get so much attack speed during your passive anyways that I think that just outright pen is probably better.
I'm curious if, like, all those minions proc the Crusher.
They do not.
That would be something else.
No, because pets don't apply on hit effects anyway, so they won't apply it no matter what.
Well, they're throwing a skewer, like they're throwing their own body. Isn't it a different source of damage as well?
It is a different source of damage, so yes, that would have double proc Crusher. That would. Oni Fury down to about half. sBennyQ certainly has the damage. Gamma comes in and ends up immediately needing to leave. Final Judgment not great from Netrioid as Sheento. His Desert Fury also doesn't find a whole lot of a home, and molluskk is in the back line. Doesn't get the shield, though. Sheento puts him down right on time. But those are some low health bars for Sanguine. Hype unit recognized that and might head back towards this Oni Fury.
To the skies being used as well. Ronngyu in the back line with Panitom on the blink. It's sBennyQ running for his life.
Netrioid just casually autos down the Oni Fury. That I thought that everyone on Sanguine was low as well, and I made the same mistake that Hype unit did. Did not see the full health Susano ready to rumble. Great blink, great path from Panitom, and that blows the game wide open. Oni Fury now in Sanguine's favor. They get 3 kills, can now back and go to Fire Giant with that threat of the Oni waves pushing towers.
Hype unit's composition is revolved around the first pick and then snowballing it from there like a waterfall effect. And molluskk overcommitted. He was taking way too much damage early. He probably could have been more patient to the point where RussianPapi could have went in first alongside Gamma, but they were kind of in the mid-range of that team fight. So once molluskk fell, the rest of Hype unit shortly fell after.
RussianPapi here, and it's not a Fire Giant pull right away. They were going for Pyromancer. Now they decide, let's go for the big boy, but molluskk has already respawned, so it's not a 5-on-2, now a 5-on-3. molluskk, no actives. As Fire Giant getting low, Frenzy Pop, Netrioid charging Final Judgment, and that secures the Fire Giant. Gamma's already blinked in and is now in a bad spot as RussianPapi tries to run towards molluskk, looking for some assistance, and none are coming from Gamma. He's already down. Sops uses the ultimate just to slow down a potential chase, but doesn't even land anywhere near Sanguine. Wise decision by him, because that would have been another death for sure.
sBennyQ is so dead. Look behind him. Panitom is cutting off the option with the pull as well, and the Typhoon. Panitom getting his 10th kill of the game.
25 in total for Panitom. There's the cursed Onk from RussianPapi, but everyone just kind of backs it up, except for Netrioid, who dashes in, but Jarcorrr doesn't need the help. 6 kills, half a dozen for Jarcorrr, and say hello to your first seed in North America. It's Sanguine.
Currently first seed.
Right.
We'll see how the next 2 weeks pan out. Still a couple more matches to go, but a great turnaround because it was Sanguine that fell to Hype unit in week 3.
Huge turnaround by Sanguine. 2 sub-30-minute games. They looked like they were the better team today, and it didn't look... I mean, the games were competitive for sure, but it wasn't like, man, Hype unit might be on that perfect same level. It clearly was Sanguine dictating the pace of these games.
Everyone from Sanguine made so many crucial plays. The Horus was successful out of Ronngyu. Jarcorrr on the King Arthur once he started making these rotations. A 1 to 2 level lead up against RussianPapi's Amaterasu. He was impactful on the Anhur was Sheento, game 1 and game number 2. Still a great performance out of Netrioid, whether he was playing the Olorun or the Thoth. Solid team. I'm really excited to see if they were to qualify to the placements, because this is a team to be reckoned with.
This Sanguine team is legit, man. You hear it every time we talk to pro players about the minor league. Everyone talks about Sanguine and how impressed they are with this squad. They're a fun group to watch, and now they are looking like they are in a great spot to make it to LAN. They are your current number 1 seed, but not locked in quite yet. Still a 3-team race between Sanguine, Hype unit, and Armada for only 2 spots to go to placement week, which is coming up soon, man. First week of November, so not too long now. Stay tuned. We got one more minor league set coming your way.